Alrighty, guys, we are back. It's your boy EQ, and up next we have word from Lauren LaRosa that the offices of UMG, Sony, and other major labels were raided due to bribery allegations regarding Spotify placements. I've spoken on this matter many a times, so this is definitely something I've said plenty before. It's an industry-wide practice, guys. You can expect to pay upwards of 30 to 50K to land top spots on these highly regarded playlists, and I've seen it myself. I've been signed as a producer for 4 years now, going on 5, and I've actually been quoted 32K to get a top 10 slot on one of these playlists. These playlists are the new radio station, guys, so getting a top 10 slot can almost guarantee a successful record. To really get an understanding of how important playlisting can be, if you guys remember when all those people were getting deplaylisted for heinous acts a few years ago, well, those artists actually saw a substantial, massive drop in streams upward of 60 to 70%. So playlisting is something that's really important. But I do want to also acknowledge that that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone on these playlists is playing. But if you're going to land one of those top spots, you're more than likely going to have to pay up. And it's definitely not cheap. This is the music business, and they're not going to leave anything up to chance because they're going to try their best to try to influence as much as they can. But that only goes so far because at the end of the day, you can keep pouring as much money you want into a record, but if the public isn't gravitating towards it, you're literally flushing money down the toilet. But enough dilly-dallying, let's jump right into this post and article where we have word from Lauren LaRosa that the offices of UMG, Sony, and other major labels were raided due to bribery allegations regarding Spotify playlisting placement. News like this, like I said, is only surprising really for like the casual fan or fans that really don't have much industry insight because, like I said, this is commonplace. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's almost a certainty that your favorite artist is also benefiting from stuff like this. It goes all the way to the beginning of the entertainment industry. It was actually outlawed in 1950 because people were paying for slots on the radio without telling the listener that those were paid spots. And now, if you want to do anything like that, you literally have to basically label it an advertisement. All right, but let's jump into the post. Just spoke to a source who confirmed to me that the offices of Universal, Sony, and other major labels were recently raided in Turkey as a result of bribery allegations regarding artists on those labels paying off individuals for Spotify playlist placement. All this has led to an investigation in North America about artists using similar tactics. I'm told the FBI is investigating. Yeah, because this I want to say happened in Turkey. Obviously, the picture is down here. Let's jump into that article to see more details on the situation. All right, it's titled Spotify Investigating Playlist Bribery Allegations in Turkey. Reports say multiple employees involved. And again, no surprise to me, this is just a veil being lifted for most of the casuals. Spotify is facing serious turmoil in Turkey, including allegations of bribery around playlist placement and mounting regulatory pressure. Controversy escalated after several Turkish artists raised complaints, questioning how playlists were created and alleging that unfair visibility was being granted to certain performers in exchange for bribes. And this is something that isn't new. And it doesn't have to be like one of these Spotify editorial playlists where they're putting it together. There's a bunch of people out there that create their own playlists, get it really popular, and now they can sell slots. Another tactic some artists will use is what I like to call the French Montana method. Back in the day on his hip hop DVD series, where you would just place your record amongst these other successful records. And just by being bundled with those other records, people are going to automatically assume that you're lit as well, even though you're the one actually putting your own stuff in there. People do the same thing in playlisting, which is why you hear some random person song throughout some of these playlists. Let's continue. Singers such as Adele, Ferhat Göster, and Oguzhan Koç, I'm sorry if I butchered your names, guys, publicly asked Spotify to clarify the criteria used to create these playlists for transparency. In addition to these bribery claims, there are further allegations that artificial bot uploads are distorting chart placements in the country. Again, this is something that is not isolated to just Turkey, because if these subsidiary offices in these other countries are doing it, best believe that the States is doing it, best believe that Korea is doing it, everyone is basically doing it. Like I said, it's probably the worst kept industry secret. And while these are things that have obviously been around for a very long time, I'm pretty sure that UMG lawsuit has a lot to do with people now calling these type of practices out. So Drake, you may have thought you were playing 4D chess, you were going to expose UMG, but it looks like you're also going to be collateral damage because if anyone was benefiting from this, it's going to be the golden goose of UMG, you. So again, thou shalt not throw stones if thou live in glass houses, but you obviously haven't been making the best decisions over the last year. In direct response, Spotify has launched an internal investigation targeting its editors in Turkey to determine whether their playlist curation was compromised by illicit payments or favoritism. And obviously, they're going to want to distance themselves from this completely. But it's the editors and the people putting those playlists together that are the ones collecting payments and stuff like this. It's not like Spotify is getting them directly, if I'm not mistaken. because they could easily be kicking up to Spotify. But if you think this isn't happening at your favorite radio station, on your favorite playlist, or that your favorite major label artist isn't doing this, if they say they're not doing this, it's because they're just not aware of it. The inquiry is looking at charges that independent artists face discrimination, royalties to Turkish artists are distributed unfairly, and that Spotify has potentially abused its market dominance by disrupting competition. And this is nothing new. People are always going to look to gain an edge, whether it's the entertainment industries, technology, etc., etc. People are always going to try to find a way to get the upper hand. Turkish authorities have responded to the allegations, with the Turkish Competition Authority opening a formal investigation on July 4th. That investigation will look into Spotify market practices, including allegations of playlist bribery, manipulation of royalties, and unfair advantages granted to certain artists or labels. To not think your label or the team behind you was making sure they were pulling some strings to make sure you got the front page of Spotify or the top slots on these playlists, you'd be crazy to think otherwise, fam. It would be totally erroneous to believe that. This probe is broad and examines both anti-competitive behavior and broader content issues raised by these artists. Deputy Culture and Tourism Administrator has criticized Spotify not just for its editorial choices, but for perceived resistance to removing user-generated playlists set to contain material incompatible with the cultural and moral values of our nation. And that just sounds like they want to censor some stuff, obviously. And with them being their sovereign nation, it's up to them to decide for themselves. But user-generated playlists are definitely very pivotal for an application like Spotify. I feel like it's truly one of the features that people love most about these streaming applications, the fact that you can make your own personal playlist. Spotify persistently refuses to take the necessary steps despite all our previous warnings. The minister stated, content that targets our religious and national values and insults the beliefs of our society has not been corrected. Obviously, they're looking to censor stuff that contradicts the religion. Spotify responded to the minister's claims with an official statement, emphasizing the company's commitment to following local laws. Here's their statement. We are cooperating with the investigation, are actively seeking to understand it, and will work toward a swift, constructive resolution with the Turkish Competition Authority. A Spotify spokesperson confirms they note that all our operations comply with legal requirements. Company representatives have confirmed to multiple outlets that Spotify is actively weighing its options, including a suspension of service in Turkey or a possible withdrawal from the entire Turkish market. And usually this is what happens, guys. When there's an application or a company and they're facing too much strife from a certain market, they just pull the company altogether. And I will say this, Spotify doesn't gain anything from having bots. On the contrary, actually, they don't want to have to pay out these botted streams. I mean, we see all the time that they're purging the platform of all those botted streams because, like I said, they don't want to pay for those streams. But these practices are still happening on their watch. Spotify has been a major player in the Turkish music ecosystem since its 2013 launch, claiming to have paid over, I want to say the equivalent is 49.7 million to the local industry in just 2024 alone. Turkish artists' share of streams have grown significantly, rising to 65% of total streams in the country for 2025. And it is awesome that the local scene is the one making the bulk of the money. The country now boasts one of the world's fastest growing recorded music markets, with nearly 90% of top 50 charting songs in Turkey coming from domestic acts in 2024. And that's really, really dope. Should Spotify withdraw, Turkish artists and right holders may lose global exposure and significant revenue streams, altering the digital music landscape in a country with a music industry that nearly doubled its revenue in 2024 to 87.8 million. And that's insane. And of course, losing Spotify means you're going to lose a lot of exposure. Spotify is one of the biggest platforms out there for streaming music. And what's Spotify doing different that Apple Music or any of the other platforms aren't doing themselves? They can all be accused of the very same things. So because of that UMG lawsuit and obviously what's going on over in Turkey, now these very same investigations are being held in North America. Actually, look at some of the comments from the post. Drake about to expose for being on them Christian playlists. And fam, the amount of people complaining of Drake being on playlists that were totally unrelated to the genre is egregious. And like I said in other videos, a lot of people go out with the intention of trying to expose somebody just to expose themselves the most. Because UMG already stated that Drake benefited from those very same tactics that he's alleging they did for Not Like Us. They raiding Kendrick's crib next. Let's fucking go. LeBronto. Bam. We already know how LeBron James feels about Drake, so you should probably change your username soon. And it's easy for the cult of the Ovihoites to try to put this tag on Kendrick Lamar, but the thing is, if anyone benefited from this, it's going to be the person that has been their golden goose for like 15 years now, and that person is Drake. And there's people out there actively monitoring these streams daily to catch any indiscrepancies and stuff like that and point them out. And this buffoon is going to be very shocked to find out that his poppy and the rest of the industry have all been willing participants in this practice. What them boys like to say over there, it's all happening. Dot era UMG, you good over there? And fam, they've been doing really good. He's been making them tons of money. And again, when I see most casuals, most of the people spinning narratives and moving goalposts online, it just comes from a place of ignorance, guys. They truly don't know how the industry works. Even somebody like a What's the Dirt. I try to watch a few of his videos and I see that it's very surface level stuff. Just because you got a mic and talk doesn't mean you have any knowledge on what you're actually talking about. Because when he speaks, I truly see he doesn't really know too much about the industry. If he's talking about botting or playlisting as if it's something that's just relegated to one artist, man, your opinion is already invalidated for me. Oh shit, y'all wondering why TDE UMG slowed down on Kendrick's botting scheme and why Kendrick's numbers are free falling like heavy rains. Guys, you're talking about an album that was released literally a year ago and a record and not like us that came out like a year and a half ago. This is just natural progression. This guy's a fool. The court case got those motherfuckers slowing down on botting and the result is so clear as Alaska snow. I'm sleeping, K-Bots. This guy is a fool. And just looking at this graph, these streams are only propped up by Drake's back catalog. It's not none of the new records because those records are falling off the charts as quickly as they're coming on. Kendrick Lamar has literally half the catalog that Drake does and still manages to beat him monthly. So it's pretty obvious that Drake should be beating Kendrick Lamar as far as monthly streams when you have that much more music. Again, another cult member buffoon. Uh-oh. Bam. I feel like the cult of the Oviehoites might be bigger Kendrick fans than they are Drake fans with how much they mention this guy. Red button push, just remember y'all asked for this, suffer. And it's going to be so hilarious when UMG pulls the veil that was over Drake all these years. Because people have some short-term memory. It's like they forgot about God's Plan. That record had tons of botting allegations, and it's not the only one that had that. And as far as playlisting, bam, that which one record that literally fell to like 67, 68 did not deserve to have the #1 spot on Rap Caviar like 3-4 weeks later, especially given that the song was not hot. So that placement to me just screams of bribery if you're going to want to throw that claim on anything. Drake stans are going to be coming up with all the excuses in the world when Drake gets fully exposed. This going to be great. And exactly, finally, somebody with some common sense in here. Kendrick is in trouble. Looks hideous, fam. And Milchick, you couldn't be any more wrong. I'm going to call you Millhouse from now on. That lawsuit going to force them labels to never play with him again. When he asked for his house with pedo markers to be taken off Kendrick's cover art, they should have just did what Kendrick asked him to. That's literally where it started. And no, that was just one thing that he was complaining about. He was complaining about a whole bunch of things. He wanted them to single out Kendrick and censor his music. So it didn't just start or end there. And the address of that house is definitely public knowledge. For like most of these celebrity homes, you can just go online and find them. If you guys don't remember back in the day, they had a thing called Star Maps. You can actually go to Hollywood and buy a map with all the addresses to all the famous celebrity homes. You can go see the Fresh Prince crib. I've actually done it, so that's just reaching for Drake. And I'm going to say this again. No one person is bigger than the program, bigger than the genre, etc., etc. So you're going to be quickly disappointed, Sean, when Drake finally learns not to mess with the company that created you. The industry is only corrupt and it needs to be dismantled. And the fact that people think any of this stuff is new, I just said earlier in the video, this has been a thing since like the 30s. And that's just when it started getting documented. Can't wait to hear about this on the next episode. So boy, what do we have here? And that might be all the information that UMG is getting ready to expose about Drake. Like I keep trying to reiterate, guys, these are all standard practices. If they're going to be looking at the paid playlisting, they're going to be surprised that literally everyone is probably guilty of this. And UMG doesn't necessarily want to go and spill all their secrets and have their business practices known. But if they get pushed into a corner, they've already stated in their opening statements that Drake is just so hypocritical with this. And he's done the very same things, if not more, throughout his career and throughout his petty beefs. So it's just a matter of time, honestly. But definitely let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about these raids? Do you think it changes anything? It's not like there hasn't been payola scandals before. Like I said, back in the day, radios were caught doing it. All it did was just drive it further underground. Because if you think that people aren't lining their pockets still, you're sadly mistaken, and that's a totally erroneous line of thinking. But definitely let me know what you guys think. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, guys. It does the channel wonders. I really want to thank you guys so much for continuing to make this channel a part of your day. It honestly means the world to me, and all the love and support that you guys continue to show this channel on a daily is honestly overwhelming and probably the biggest reason why I make these videos. So I really want to let you guys know how grateful I am for all of it. Guys, a big shout out to all those that have been joining YouTube memberships. It's a small way to support the channel, but definitely goes a very long way in helping out. And also a very big super thank you to all those sending super thanks, because again, it helps the channel out tremendously. I do want to let you guys know that I did update the Discord link. I didn't realize it was expired and that I originally only set it for a day. That was my bad, guys. But definitely join that when you get a chance. It's probably going to be the easiest way to send any type of video reaction recommendations, and also the best way to ensure that you're getting all the notifications for each video drop, because I know YouTube maxes you out at like 3, and I want to say just because you sign up for notifications doesn't necessarily mean you're actually going to get them, because they limit those as well. That's probably going to be the best way to ensure you get those. I'm definitely looking forward to your takes on this. Hope you guys love this video, and I hope to see you guys soon. And Drake, you can't pick and choose what receipts actually get brought to light. That's going to be a lesson that is probably going to be really tough for you.